it was slow to start, but then manifested quickly. I was manic, I wasn't sleeping. I had an hour and a half on average a night, and I went through a 19-hour labour, and obviously I'm a new mum. I should have been exhausted, and I wasn't. I had racing thoughts. I was talking 100 miles an hour.
You said you got the feeling that you had an IQ of 1,000. You could have, if someone had said learn a language overnight, you could have done.
Yeah, I felt like that.
So, and that's when, with this sort of lack of sleep, the hallucinations started. So what sort of hallucinations were you having?
By day 7, day 8, I started to see my mum, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago.
Right.
I didn't talk to her necessarily, but she was there, and also a man was in the house who I thought was going to kill me. He kept coming and going when I was upstairs.
There were, at no point did you, were you or your husband, Adam, were you concerned about Leo? You were never going to hurt Leo, but there was a serious danger you felt that you might hurt yourself. And so you said to Adam, will you make sure that you take all the knives away? I
did, yeah. I mean, I was very aware of what was going on. I had a lot of insight into what was happening to me, whereas a lot of women don't. But I reached breaking point because no one was willing to help us or diagnose me, and I just didn't know what to do with these. I had 1,000 thoughts in my head. I was trying to get them out. I was hallucinating, delusional.
Why? Because it seems extraordinary, because I remember when I did NCT when I was pregnant with Harry, and I know that it was one of the sort of things that they spoke about there, you know, and the midwife that came round would always say, sort of go, and how are you feeling? Are you okay? And was quite good on that sort of thing, and you appear not to have had any of that support at all.
My husband and I also did NCT locally, and postnatal depression was touched on, but I'd read baby books. I'd never once heard of postpartum psychosis.
The problem is that also, I mean, you then started to seek help, and you went to various midwives, you went to medics.
From day 5.
Yeah, back to where you'd had the baby in the first place, and they said, oh, well, it's out of hours, nothing we can do, and you had, also you're working very closely with them now to make sure that
but
never
unfortunately my manic episodes happened overnight, and out of hours help is actually quite difficult to get with
So it was a midwife who said, right, OK, I do spot a problem here, and she got a psychiatrist involved.
We called the midwives on the night of day 8, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm manic, I'm crazy, I need your help. And they sent 2 midwives to the house, and the following morning they did organise for a GP to come and see me, who didn't diagnose me. She said I didn't need medical intervention. A psychiatric nurse came, she told me I did. I didn't trust her, because you do have trust issues when you're suffering psychosis. And because I trusted my doctor, she said I didn't need medical intervention. Obviously I didn't then believe the psychiatrist. And it took that night, we called the midwives again, we called an ambulance, we called the police. Nobody would take responsibility for me, and no one would diagnose me, but my husband and I would just, we cried for help. We spoke to 15 medical professionals.
Well, thankfully,
so confusing, isn't it? I mean, and obviously there are 1 in 1,000 women will go through this. What is potentially extremely dangerous.
Yeah. So I mean, this condition is a complete psychiatric emergency, and what's really key is making the diagnosis, because actually, once a woman's diagnosed and treated, like you were, they can get better very quickly.
Well, clearly, I mean, this is not that long ago. I mean, you were sections for 13 days. Just 13 days, got the correct treatment you wanted, and now you're back on track.
Yeah, it's about 8 weeks ago.
That's unbelievable.
It's the awareness, lack of awareness, really, in picking this up. And I think, you know, unfortunately, in your case, it was really things weren't very good. But I think people know about baby blues. Most women will have some baby blues in the first couple of weeks, and even postnatal depression, which affects 1 in 10. Now, this condition affects 1 in 1,000, so it's actually rare. But you know, the consequences of it being undiagnosed can be really terrible.
What do you spot? What are those initial symptoms?
So the early signs can be low mood or high mood, like you had. So particularly, the things to look out for: lack of sleep. After a baby, women want to sleep. If a woman doesn't want to sleep or is unable to sleep at all, or just unable to do normal daily tasks, or, you know, running around talking a lot, feeling that they're Superwoman, that's abnormal. And certainly any hallucinations or unusual thoughts, unusual ideas would you know, be alarmed.
Well, I hesitate to say where'd you go, because you went everywhere.
It shouldn't be like that.
You should go straight to your GP. there always is an out-of-hours service, and they vary. And if you're not getting help there, you go to A&E or dial 999. Particularly if a woman is in crisis, where she feels that she's afraid she's going to take her own life or harm somebody else. 999.
And don't be afraid to
A&E.
get help, because they're not going to take your baby away from you. You'll get the help, and then before you know it, you'll be back at home and things will be back.
The aim is always to keep the woman and the baby together.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop you from, you know, unless it's a natural requirement, they won't stop you from breastfeeding. So, you know, it's just important.
Thank you for highlighting this.
Yes,
No,
thank
I
you,
just wanted
Zoe.
to raise
Thank
awareness.
you.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.